Hello and happy day. How does slowing down sound to you today? Would you like to reduce the noise for just a bit? Are you ready to make a choice and decide to listen? My name is Igor S.F. Walker, and I am here to remind people to slow down, to reduce the noise, to walk their lives into a natural flow. Welcome back to the Book of the Week series. Every week, as I read another amazing title, I share it with the world. Today we look at The Hidden Life of Trees by Peter Wohlleben. This book is a lens to help you take a closer look at what you might have taken for granted. So slow down, breathe deep, and look around. What can you hear? What do you see? How do you feel? This is a story that explains why forests matter on a global scale. Trees are important, but when trees unite to create a fully functioning forest, you can say that the whole is greater than its parts. According to the dictionary definition, language is what people use when we talk to each other. Looked at it this way, we're the only beings who can use language because the concept is limited to our species. But wouldn't it be interesting to know whether the trees can also talk to each other? But how? They definitely don't produce sounds, so there's nothing we can hear. Branches do squeak and they rub against one another and leaves rustle, but these sounds are caused by the wind and the tree has no control over them. Trees, it turns out, have a completely different way of communicating. They use scent. Scent as a means of communication? Well, the concept is not totally unfamiliar to us. Why else would we use deodorants and perfumes? And even when we're not using these products, our own smell says something to other people, both consciously and subconsciously. There's some people who seem to have no smell at all. We're strongly attracted to others because of their aroma. Scientists believe that pheromones in sweat are a decisive factor when we choose our partners, in other words, those with whom we wish to procreate. So it seems fair to say that we possess a secret language of scent, and trees have demonstrated they do as well. Beeches, spurs, and oaks all register pain as soon as some creature starts nibbling on them. When a caterpillar takes a hearty bite out of a leaf, the tissue around the site of the damage changes. In addition, the tissue sends out electrical signals, just as human tissue does when it is hurt. However, the signal is not transmitted in milliseconds, like with humans. Instead, the plant signal travels at the slow speed of 1/3 of an inch per minute. Accordingly, it takes an hour or so before the defensive compounds reach their level to spoil the pest's meal. Trees live their lives in the really slow lane, even when they're in danger. Now, if trees are capable of learning, and you can see that they are just by observing, the question is, where did they observe what they have learned, and how do they access this information? After all, they don't have brains to function as databases and manage processes. It is the same for all plants, and that's why some scientists are skeptical, and many of them banish to the realm of fantasy the idea of the plant's ability to learn. But once again, along comes a scientist, Dr. Monica Gagliano. She studies mimosas, also called sensitive plants. Mimosas are tropical creeping herbs. They make particularly good research subjects because it is easy to get them riled up, and they're easier to study in the laboratory than the trees are. When they are touched, they close their feathery leaves to protect themselves. Gagliano designed an experiment where individual drops of water hit the plant's foliage at regular intervals. At first, the anxious leaves closed immediately. But after a while, the little plants learned that there was no danger of damage from the water droplets. After that, the leaves remained opened, despite the drops. Even more surprising to Gagliano was the fact that mimosas could remember and apply their lessons weeks later, even without any further tests. It is obvious that we did blur the boundary between plants and animals. And so what? What could be so awful about that? The distinction between a plant and an animal is, after all, arbitrary, and it depends on the way the organism feeds itself. One photosynthesizes and the other eats other living beings. Finally, the only other big difference is in the amount of time it takes to process information and translate it into action. Does that mean that beings that live in the slow lane are automatically worth less than the ones in the fast track? Sometimes I suspect we would pay more attention to trees and other vegetation if we could establish beyond the doubt just how similar they are in many ways to animals. For us as humans, soil is more obscure than water, both literally and metaphorically. Whereas it is generally accepted that we know less about the ocean floor than we know about the surface of the moon, we know even less about the life in the soil, and up to half of the biomass of the forest is hidden in the lower story. Scientists have been tracking older women as they walk through forests and urban areas. The results: when the women were walking in the forest, their blood pressure, their lung capacity, and the elasticity of their arteries improved, whereas an excursion into town showed none of these changes. Oxygen. This essential gas is released when water and carbon dioxide are broken down during photosynthesis. Every day in summer, trees release about 29 tons of oxygen into the air per square mile of forest. A person breathes in nearly 2 pounds of oxygen a day. So that's the daily requirement for about 10,000 people. Every walk in the forest is like taking a shower in the oxygen, but only during the day. These trees manufacture large amounts of carbohydrates, not only to lay them down as wood, but also to satisfy their hunger. Trees use carbohydrates as fuels, just as we do. And when they do, they convert sugar into energy and carbon dioxide. Reading this book will absolutely make you more aware of the forest's importance. You will gain full understanding that our well-being is connected to the well-being of our lands and our waters. If we use our knowledge and our wisdom to look after them, they will look after us into the future. Our leaders know and understand this too. Makes you wonder, whose interests are they truly representing, and are they elected officials or paid for puppets? Please help out. It is easy. Simply like this video so more people can enjoy. Share it too and spread the word. Subscribe to my channel and stay up to date. Link to this book is in the description below, so buy it and read. Never stop learning. Thank you. Love and respect.